Hello, everyone. Welcome to the First Wednesday webinar, the last of the year. I cannot believe we are here at the end of the year. As always, I am going to share our slides. Please say hello in the chat, maybe with your name, your organization, letting us know where you're from and your experience with PAYS. I'm going to start the slides, but then I can't see. Okay. Yes, say hello with your name in your chat. We'll give a few minutes for people to come in. I really want to encourage everyone that is participating. Most of you have been around for a little while, so you know how this works. But what I really would like to see is maybe if you have any questions related to the pays, the administrations, the reports, anything that's happening with Phyllis and Jeff, and we'll be actually monitoring pretty intensely the chat and the questions and answers. Either way, you let us know if you have a question, and we will make sure to address it. I know in this webinar format, you can't always communicate very effectively, but we are paying attention to the chat and the Q&A, and we are here to make sure that you have the support that you need and hopefully can answer any questions that you have. Any questions, type it in the Q&A. And again, we are recording, as you all know. The link will be accessible to you on the YouTube channel, and also it will be emailed to you via MailChimp. Probably, I usually like to do it a week. Maybe sometimes it goes into two. This time I will do it in a week because we are at the end of the year and I don't want it hanging out there. So everybody will get the recording. You can share it with anybody who you think would maybe benefit from watching the webinar. Here's our team. We have Lee is not able to join us today. Neither is Katie. She's at a conference today, but we do have a fill-in that's very familiar, I think, to everybody. I'm here and Phyllis is here. Jeff Hogan is helpful and supportive with the chat, and we have a couple other EPIS staff that are available to support. And here's our special guest. Today, Mary is here filling in for Katie, and she is going to give us the Bach Harrison synopsis of where we are, where we're going, what's happening, and what you can expect for the pays in December and into January. And then we have Christina Genti from CSPN that is going to really provide us a toolkit that's called the River Story. That's something that hopefully everyone in prevention can embrace and can use the tools to maybe educate, inform parents, community members, everyone in the community in a easy to understand and digestible way. So she's going to present that. And then we should be just about at our time. If not, you'll get a little bit of time back. But for right now, I'm going to pass the wand to Mary. And Mary, you can take it away.
All right. Welcome everybody. Thank you for your time today. As Elise mentioned, I'm just going to run us through a quick overview of participation, just so everybody knows kind of where we are. This is looking to be probably our biggest administration ever, which is really, really exciting. And, special thanks to Emma and Katie for their work and just recruiting and just kind of following through with districts that have signed on. So I'll be discussing that at the end. I will be asking a little bit of a favor for all of you, just to help us encourage and see through every district that signed up for the survey, to make sure that they participate. And then I'll spend most of my time actually discussing the preliminary highlights reports, which the first batch of those will be going out in mid-December, and then the rest in mid-January. And if you're familiar with that, hopefully you'll have this will be just a nice refresher. And if you're new to that preliminary highlights report kind of format, it'll be just a nice tutorial so that you, when you get your report or when your district gets the report, you'll just be able to jump in with that. So let me start with updates. As of today, registration right now, I don't think we've had Emma, have we had any new districts sign on? Okay, yeah. So right now we're just kind of like in the thick of participation. So we have currently 473 opt-ins, of which 408 are districts, 52 are charter schools, and 13 are non-public schools. You might recall that this was our first big year to actively recruit non-public schools, and I think this is a great number. For Pays Junior, we have 159 opt-ins, which is really tremendous. To give some perspective, in 2003, we had 469 sign on, and that includes districts and charters and non-public schools. As always, you can see our registration tracker so that you can keep up with who is registered within your county. As of for participation, right now we have over 22,000 students that have taken the fourth grade Pays Junior. Right now we have 245,293 students that have taken our Pays with really good participation across all grades. To give some perspective, we couldn't find the December a December update for this. But in early November, we were up of 2023, we were up to 153,000. In January, which signals kind of the end of the survey, we were at 250,000. So right now, this 245 to be there at the beginning of December. That is a big difference, or not actually that far from where we ended in January. So ultimately, too, you can see a whole lot of change in 2023 between November and the end of the survey, like a huge difference. So definitely, most districts have already participated in the survey, but December is ultimately kind of when the final districts kind of do a mad dash to get the survey done before the end of the year. So things are looking really great for participation this year. I do want to highlight what we call our red flag LEAs. So our districts and charters and non-public schools. These are the entities that have signed up for the survey. So they initially said that they wanted to do it, but we kind of have radio silence from them. They haven't set their survey window. They're not responding to our emails. And also we have not seen them participate yet. So I do have a tracker for that, and I will just drag over my window. Can everybody see this Airtable view? Okay.
Yes.
So this is sorted by county, and you can see it just fits within one screen. We have 24 that were kind of fall under this red flag category, and it's sorted by county and then alphabetically by district. I would encourage anybody, and we do have, hopefully the survey coordinator doesn't mind, but we're including their first name and then also their email. Ultimately, if you have any connections to these districts, or if you are a prevention data user within these counties, if you do not mind reaching out to the survey coordinator or to the superintendent there and just saying, hey, I know you signed up for Pays. Don't forget the end of the calendar year is the end of the survey. So don't forget to go ahead and do that. At this point, it's really important that they get those passive parental parent letters out so that parents have some time to consider the survey before the survey is administered. But in general, if everybody could just go ahead and just I'll pause here for just a quick minute for you to scan through and to write down the survey coordinator email or the superintendent. And in general, we would appreciate any help or support and following up with these districts. Okay, thank you for that. The rest of my time I'm going to spend on the preliminary highlights report. So for context, in 2023, we had 456 LEAs, so again, districts, charters, non-publics, that received this preliminary highlights report of those that were registered. So you have to do the survey online to get a preliminary highlights report. That's actually, you do have to meet kind of some minimum requirements. So for example, you have to, honestly, I think that's about it. You have to have a minimum number of participation. Like you have to meet the minimum threshold that we would normally produce a profile report. And so that would be just kind of another qualifier to receiving one of these. But in general, these are going to go out. The first batch will go out in mid-December. these reports take a little time to load. And so because we don't want like 400 people in Alchemer at one time looking at the report, we do stagger the release of these. So in the first batch, those and getting them in mid-December, these are those that have completed the survey before Thanksgiving. The rest of those who complete the survey after Thanksgiving will get their preliminary highlights report in mid-January, but they will be a staggered release. So in that first batch, those that completed the survey before Thanksgiving, the very final batch will be on December 15th. So we'll start a couple of days early. Last time we would send out like a batch in the morning and then a batch in the afternoon over a couple of days. And then again, that is just to ensure that we don't have hundreds of people in Alchemer at one point, which slows down the loading time, which makes everybody frustrated. And so that staggered release is just an effort to minimize that frustration and to enhance the user experience with that report. Um, that said, let me go ahead and send or show you an example of the report. So this is really just a sample of kind of a overall, honestly, there are loads of districts that are rolled up into this. You can see just really quickly that there's a little bit of context at the beginning. Go ahead and read through that. It's going to let you know what you're looking at. There are some links or hyperlinks to different tools that you can use. So these notes are really important. For some viewers, this might be too small a font, so you can always just hold down your control key and do the handy dandy plus and kind of minus or dash to get the font size to where it's most comfortable for you and your eyes. There will always be a section up top for participation. For district level reports and then for county reports that we'll produce also, it's going to have a list of schools that are participating, and it's also going to kind of give you an overview of like how many students you're looking at by grade. This context is good for, if you're a district, knowing which schools are included there is really important, just to help you interpret the results. We create these preliminary highlights reports when a district contact tells us that they are done. So the schools you have here are kind of like the final schools that we know are participating after a district told us that they are completed. Um, the rest of the report just looks at data, first by mental health concerns and suicide risk. I'll scroll through really quickly and then we'll go back up to the top. Excuse me. Then followed by substance use, school climate and safety, and I believe there, oh, sorry, life stressors. I believe that is it, with some information at the end. In general, what you're looking at, all of the bars are really in a similar format. You're always going to see data for the question segmented by grade. So if, for example, you're a district that didn't survey your sixth graders, you will not see sixth grades data there. There will always be just kind of an introductory label that lets you know what you're looking at. We will always spell out exactly what the question is. If they are grouped, like you can see here, we'll let you know that what each grouping means, along with some context on the color of the bar, hopefully to make this just more accessible. And then too, if you're curious, oh, well, I can't see what percent this is, you just hover over it and you can see, for example, here, 16.6% of sixth graders marked big no or little no to this question, and then 83.4% of sixth graders marked big yes or little yes to that. In general, those are most of the questions are just really straightforward like that, or the data presentation is very straightforward like that. Let me find an example of a different type of one. Some you will see kind of the data presented in a different format. This is usually when it's a mark all that apply question. So the percentages here aren't going to add to 100. If it's a mark all that apply question, you will get the data presented that way. And then it's always goes sixth grade first, and then eighth, and then 10th and 12th. And this is just a different way, a better way to present this type of data. Let's see. let me find one that is of previous users. For substance use, again, there's always each section has just kind of a preface in terms of what we're looking at. Um, Oftentimes we get asked, why are we focusing on lifetime substance use? Isn't 30-day substance use usually what we build our plans around? You might recall lifetime use is a student who said that they have ever used in their lifetime alcohol or marijuana, etc. And so that's more of a measure of experimental use, while 30-day use is more of a measure of kind of regular use or habitual use. That said, because the online survey has skip logic, so a student would not even get the 30-day use question if they didn't mark lifetime use. Our online platform, it's simpler and more straightforward, is less confusing if we just show lifetime use. Just because if we were to display 30-day use, it would be of a subset of lifetime users, and the percentages in general would be confusing. So you will just see lifetime use. For these within this, we decided not to segment it. So you will be able to kind of hover over and see more granular data. So for example, for lifetime use for alcohol, we can see that 88.3% of sixth graders said never. 10.1% of sixth graders said once or twice in their lifetime. 0.9% said once in a while, but not regularly. 0.4% said regularly, but not in the past. 0.2 said regularly now. And in general, because these add to 100, you can add these up and do your own kind of aggregation if you decide to. But that will give you a little bit more information, not just about, did they use or not, but also about frequency, which can help with interpretation and just be helpful to as you look through the data. Followed by lifetime marijuana use, lifetime prescription pain reliever use, lifetime cigarette use, lifetime e-cigarette or vape device use. For school climate and safety, again, just some information at top to preface it. There's data for opportunities for one-on-one time with teachers, opportunities for class involvement, chances for students to decide activities and rules. School informs parents when they do well. Teachers often provide praise when they work hard. Importance of schoolwork for their future, meaningfulness of schoolwork, enjoyment of school, perception of school safety, and location of bullying. Um, for these, really the preliminary highlights report is intended, the main audience for that we know are schools and districts. And one of the original kind of motivations for PCCD and Penn State to kind of pursue this type of report was so that districts could get the data that's most meaningful and helpful to them for school level work and to support students more immediately rather than waiting until April 30th to get your full profile report. So this is one of the reasons why we have a very hearty school climate and safety section. We're just continuing adults at school, stop bullying, threats of violence on school property, actual violence on school property before we get into life stressors. Life stressors include things like death of a family or a friend or family member, food insecurity, so worrying about running out of food, food insecurity from another vantage point in terms of skipping a meal, average night of sleep on of school where the dark bar is less than 7 hours, and then the lighter bar is 7 or more hours. Types of abuse. This is, I believe, is the one question where it is of a subset of individuals. So we try to be really clear about that in the title. So this is of those indicating that they've been abused in the past year. So we're only looking, there's first a question, have you been abused? And then, or they could say that they were not. But in general, they can then mark kind of what type of abuse they were experiencing. And then finally, there's also, if you need any help or support with this, you can just click on that question down there. Any questions about this? Let me take a look at the chat. Or Phyllis, have there been any questions?
Yes, we do have a question just to
Okay.
clarify
Mhm.
that there, Becca asked if there's only, you have to have 25 students in a grade to get the report. She just wanted to verify that. And
Yes.
then she just commented several districts in my county are smaller and are lucky to have that many in a grade, let alone take the survey. But this would not affect a county level. She should still be able to get that right once it's all combined. I just want to
Yes.
clarify that for her. Yeah.
Yes, and I do believe I'll check with Katie to see what instructions have been given to the crew at Bach Harrison that are creating this. But for if a district doesn't meet that threshold, we can always remove the grade level segmentation. And then if they would just have participation of all grades combined that were more than 25, we could still produce a report. And actually, let me run that by the PACE leadership team to see if that is okay. But that is also another alternative. But yeah, the county would be kind of your next level. Also, oh yeah, I think the county would be kind of the next level for producing something that would be helpful. Good
Okay, thank you.
question. Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you very much. And reach out to if you have any questions or if you need anything else. Katie and Emma are also available as well, but I'm happy to help support. And thank you all for your support of PACE. It's a huge part of what makes this survey successful, every administration.
It does. It does. And Becca did reply and just asked if there was any way to show the data for the school. So I think we can, Becca, definitely send an email, let us know. We can work together, see what we can come up with to make sure that you have the data that you can use. So that would be great. Thank you, Mary, very much. And everybody can be on the lookout for those reports to come in December and then again in January. And next up, we have Christina. Christina is going to go through the River Story, which is a toolkit for prevention specialists and for those of us who work in the field, parents, teachers, anybody who is available. So, Christina, I'm going to pass it to you.
Thanks, Elise. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for having me here today. I really appreciate it. Let me get my slides up for you guys. So as Elise said, I am the coordinator of the Cross Systems Prevention Network. Sorry, getting my slides here for you guys. There we go. And now I've lost you guys. Hold on.
It's hard to see when you're sharing your screen
Oh,
to
for
see it.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull it up real quick, but I think we're good. Perfect. Okay. All right. So CSPN is our purpose is really simple. It's to share an understanding of proven prevention strategies, to really equip communities with some practical tools that we can use daily, and to support the sustained investment needed to keep early prevention strong across Pennsylvania. So our network brings together partners across all disciplines, across different agencies, so we can align those efforts and make prevention clearer, more consistent, and really easier to communicate to people in any conversation that you're having. So this walkthrough today is really going to be one way and another tool that you can use to start that conversation. Many of you may be familiar with the river story already, or at least some version of it. And it's the idea that we often spend so much time rescuing people downstream from challenges that have already grown heavy, and we spend far less time asking what's happening upstream. So upstream prevention is about noticing early signs and strengthening those protective factors, and supporting families and communities before a crisis develops. So upstream prevention is not just a program. It's a way of seeing things. It's a way of incorporating support early on. And I really like to highlight that we should utilize the opportunities already present in our community. So this toolkit was built to help make that upstream work easier to use and easier to explain. This slide really helps us shift from the story or the video of the river story into practice. We have heard again and again from coalitions, communities, prevention partners that they needed something simple and visual and ready to plug into their everyday work. And so we created this toolkit so that anyone can use, whether you have 2 minutes in the hallway or 20 minutes at a school board meeting. Again, we made this really easy and consistent for you to introduce into your own spaces. And so I'm going to let you guys listen to a voiceover of our slide deck that you can use yourself, or you can download the slides to pull apart to use whichever you feel is most convenient in your community.
This toolkit is built on one powerful idea. When we build
You guys hear
upstream,
anything?
we build safer,
Okay.
stronger futures. The image of the bridge sets the stage for the prevention story. Prevention addresses real challenges in our communities, things like substance misuse, school disconnection, and exposure to violence. Grounding ourselves in the why is the first step before we move into the river story. Prevention means going upstream. Instead of only reacting after challenges appear, we take the walk upstream to understand root causes. That allows us to strengthen protective factors earlier and create conditions where people of all ages can thrive. The river story brings this idea to life in a simple, visual way. The river story video is short, visual, and unforgettable. It's a tool that can be played in a school board meeting, during a coalition training, or even with funders to spark conversation about why upstream prevention matters. Downstream work is essential. Counselors, social workers, teachers, law enforcement, and many other community agencies all play vital roles. Prevention doesn't replace those efforts, it adds to them. This is about honoring the work being done downstream while also imagining what could be possible if we reduce how many kids end up in the river in the first place. Sometimes the bridge is missing planks, disconnection from school, family stress, or lack of support. These challenges make it harder for youth to cross safely. Using the bridge as a metaphor makes complex issues easier to explain without overwhelming people. Now the focus shifts from missing planks to strong ones. Protective factors like strong family bonds, caring schools, positive peers, and mentorship help youth stay on solid ground. Every community already has these strengths. Prevention is about building on them. The vision is simple: youth walking forward, supported and safe. This is prevention in action. It's memorable and relatable because it shows exactly what we're working towards. Even if a bridge isn't broken, it can always be made stronger. Prevention is not just about fixing problems. It's about strengthening what already works so that every person can cross safely into the future. Everything you've just seen is ready for you to use. The River Story video, the slides, and even a handout with simple talking points are all part of your toolkit. You don't have to start from scratch. Prevention messaging is already packaged and practical. The handout is especially helpful. It gives you quick language that you can use in conversation at a meeting or even in an elevator pitch. This toolkit is designed to make prevention easy to share anywhere. And if you're ready to go deeper, the Prevention Learning Portal is your next step. It's a free hub with courses, including one that expands on the river story, plus tools and training you can access anytime.
All right. So that is the entire toolkit. And as I said, This is ready for you to download to use, to pull apart the slides if needed. If you want to change around logos, icons, or anything, you are free to do that. We just ask that you stick to the core message of the toolkit. So I also wanted to show you all where this lives. So this is the CPA, or the Commonwealth Prevention Alliance website, and we'll get that information out to you on how to get there if you're not familiar with it. So on this webpage where CSPN information lives, we place all of the tools, the slides, the video, and there are some talking points along with a quick guide that kind of gives you some ideas of where you can start using this information, how you can start the conversation. But we also have the video to download with the river story embedded within it. So you can just play it straight through and it'll introduce you to the video, to the river story in any setting that you would like. So that's all I have for you guys today. That is the toolkit that we've created for you. I'd like to thank you for having me and inviting me to speak with you all today, and I appreciate all the work that you all are doing. If there are any questions, please feel free to reach out or drop them in the chat. This is just, again, really a resource. Oh, thank you, Jeff, for putting that link in the chat for us. Really like to thank you all for everything that you do every day.
Thank you, Christina. Very much appreciate that. Phyllis, do you have anything that you wanted to add to that?
No, if there's anybody, thank you, Christina. That's great as always. If there's anybody who has used these materials, or has had, seen it used somewhere, we would love to hear from you. If you want to share with the group, that'd be great. And Christina, Debbie is asking if you could share your email address.
Putting it in the chat right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. And again, just more tools for all of us to be able to use to get that boots on the ground, no matter where you are. It's a universal message. And, prevention is very important right now, and looking at, state budgets, federal budgets, where, we are down. We're down, and we need to really make sure that we are prevalent and that people understand what prevention is. And this is a great lead in to start with that primary prevention. We also always talk about the prevention learning portal, and Lee did not put in the prevention learning portal slide, but I do have the 23rd course was released, so I'm putting that in the chat for everyone. If you have not utilized the PLP, again, it's a huge resource for resources, for courses, for learning, for sharing, free, easy to use, always looking for input. And I know that most of you have heard this numerous times. So, but we always do talk about the PLP because it is an important piece of what we do and the resources that we can provide. Our next first Wednesday webinar is in February. So January, we are on hiatus, and we will not be having a first Wednesday webinar in January. February 4th, we will be talking about really diving into the preliminary data. What can you do with it? We know we've talked about, and Mary alluded to, you're not making big decisions on this. It's not the final cleaned up data that you will receive in April, but it definitely gives you some information and some tools moving forward. What can we do? What can you do with the preliminary data that you are receiving from those data reports? And then as the year progresses, of course, we're really going to be looking at fourth grade and what those reports look like. So from March onward, we have a couple of different ideas, and just be on the lookout. You'll all receive notification if we have any special webinars or if there's anything happening related to that. And as always, there we are on Facebook and our EPIS page that has additional resources. And if you have any questions, I think you know where to find me at this point, where to find most of us. Hi, Martha. Well, you're right. You're good to join here at the end. So I'm going to put my email address in just so everybody has it. And if there are any questions, anything related to the pays as we wrap up the 2025 administration, which I cannot believe we are here, please let me know, and I will help you as much as I can or direct you to those individuals who are able to help you. Everybody have a wonderful end of the year holiday season and Happy New Year. Thank you very much for joining us. Bye-bye.